No getting around it. This is a long one, but a great one, where a close, dear friend of Jesus dies and Jesus weeps, but not over the death, but sharing the grief of his friends. You just got to see it fully because there's more here than you may realize. John 11, 1-44 say, Now a certain man was sick, Lazarus of Bethany, the town of Mary and her sister Martha. It was that Mary who anointed the Lord with fragrant oil and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. Therefore the sisters sent to him, saying, Lord, behold, he whom you love is sick. When Jesus heard that, he said, This sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of God may be glorified through it. Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. So when he heard that he was sick, he stayed 2 more days in the place where he was. Then after this, he said to the disciples, Let us go to Judea again. Then the disciples said to him, Rabbi, lately the Jews sought to stone you, and are you going there again? Jesus answered, Are there not 12 hours in the day? If anyone walks in the day, he does not stumble, because he sees the light of this world. But if one walks in the night, he stumbles, because the light is not in him. These things he said, and after that he said to them, Our friend Lazarus sleeps, but I go that I may wake him up. Then his disciples said, Lord, if he sleeps, he'll get well. However, Jesus spoke of his death, but they thought that he was speaking about taking rest and sleep. Then Jesus said to them plainly, Lazarus is dead, and I'm glad for your sakes that I was not there, that you may believe. Nevertheless, let us go to him. Then Thomas, who was called the twin, said to his fellow disciples, Let us also go, that we may die with him. So when Jesus came, he found that he had already been in the tomb 4 days. Now Bethany was near Jerusalem, about 2 miles away, and many of the Jews had joined the women around Martha and Mary to comfort them concerning their brother. Then Martha, as soon as she heard that Jesus was coming, went and met him, but Mary was sitting in the house. Now Martha said to Jesus, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. But even now I know that whatever you ask of God, God will give you. Jesus said to her, Your brother will rise again. Martha said to him, I know that he will rise in the resurrection at the last day. Jesus said to her, I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me, though he may die, he shall live. And whoever lives and believes in me shall never die. Do you believe this? She said to him, Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, who is to come into the world. And when she had said these things, she went her way and secretly called Mary, her sister, saying, The teacher has come and is calling for you. As soon as she heard that, she arose quickly and came to him. Now Jesus had not yet come into the town, but was in the place where Martha met him. Then the Jews who were with her in the house and comforting her, when they saw that Mary rose up quickly and went out, they followed her, saying, She's going to the tomb to weep there. Then when Mary came where Jesus was and saw him, she fell down at his feet, saying to him, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Therefore, when Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who came with her weeping, he groaned in the spirit and was troubled. And he said, Where have you laid him? They said to him, Lord, come and see. Jesus wept. Then the Jews said, See how he loved him? And some of them said, Could not this man who opened the eyes of the blind also have kept this man from dying? Then Jesus, again groaning in himself, came to the tomb. It was a cave, and a stone lay against it. Jesus said, Take away the stone. Martha, the sister of him who was dead, said to him, Lord, by this time there's a stench, for he has been dead 4 days. Jesus said to her, Did I not say to you that if you would believe, you would see the glory of God? Then they took away the stone from the place where the dead man was lying. And Jesus lifted up his eyes and said, Father, I thank you that you have heard me, and I know that you always hear me. But because of the people who are standing by, I said this, that they may believe that you sent me. Now when he had said these things, he cried with a loud voice, Lazarus, come forth. And he who had died came out, bound hand and foot with grave clothes, and his face was wrapped with a cloth. Jesus said to them, Loose him and let him go. Ultimately, Jesus raises a dead man back to life. Sadly, some like Lazarus' sisters, Mary and Martha, Jesus' dear friends, get dangerously close to intimating that Jesus allowed him to die, even passively by not being nearby during his sickness. Notice that Lazarus was in the tomb 4 days when Jesus got there, but Jesus' decision to stay where he was when he received the report would only account for 2 of those days. This means Lazarus would have been in the tomb 2 days if Jesus had left immediately. So we can put those to rest, so to speak. And it's interesting that Jesus says to his disciples, I'm glad that I wasn't there, that you may believe. See, Jesus has a purpose in this. He didn't ask for it or want it, but he'll use it to advance the kingdom. Romans 8:28 is one of our family's most treasured and oft-quoted scriptures. We know that all things work together for good to those who love God, to those who are the called according to his purpose. Even the bad, painful stuff. He doesn't call that good. He just works good through it. Sometimes that means reversing it. God can do all that. Jesus is not callous. He's filled with purpose and love. He doesn't weep at the news of his friend's illness, nor does he weep at the news of his death, because he knows what he's going to do. Raise him back to life. But when does Jesus weep? When, having heard Martha's assessment and now sees Mary grieving, both having declared, Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died. And they're weeping. He's compassionately weeping with those who weep, which we are also called to do in Romans 12. The Jews with them assessed this moment differently. They said it was because of Jesus' great love for Lazarus, and that's why he's so distraught over this reality. But it was not that. Jesus was about to change all that. His tears were for those who remain. Anyone who has suffered through the agony of a death of a loved one understands the pain of those grieving that loss. Jesus truly understands and loves us all so much. What happens next is easier to judge in hindsight, because Jesus told both his disciples and Martha that he was going to raise Lazarus. But human perceptions get in the way of miracles, which happened here. But Jesus instructed them to roll the stone away, which Martha objects to because of the smell of 4 days of decomposing flesh. Thankfully, Jesus was undeterred, or else she could have very well stopped the miracle right there. Jesus is constantly teaching people the power of faith to see the miraculous. He literally says, didn't I tell you? The last piece here, which is awesome, is that Jesus makes a point to converse with God right in front of everyone so they hear it too. This isn't the same self-seeking way the Pharisees make a public show of their prayers, but rather for the advantage of the hearers. Jesus did not come to be served, but to serve. This should become our new focus, not to be served, but to serve mankind. And we all need to be reminded of our commission, of our empowerment, our new identity as miracle workers. Are you ready to raise the dead and greater things? Pick up something at andgreaterthings.com to get your wearable reminder today. Have you ever seen someone raised from the dead? Comment if you have, or to respond to this miracle in any way. Like and subscribe so you don't miss the rest of Jesus' 37 miracles from the Gospels. God bless you, and I'll catch you on the next one.